everyone, welcome to Prime. I'm Paige Stafford and this is Ariel Herr. Methodist Health Systems is creating a huge buzz in North Texas, and they're breaking ground on several new hospitals, including a new trauma center.
Today we have President and CEO April Chamberlain here with us to tell us about all the exciting news. So welcome, April. We appreciate you being here.
Thank you so much for having me.
So can you give us some insight into Methodist Health System first before we start talking about the hospitals?
I'll give it my best shot. Methodist has been around since 1927. It's one of the oldest faith-based organizations. And we're located in Oak Cliff, so we're one of the best kept secrets in Dallas. We've now grown to 7 hospitals around the Metroplex. We're located near Duncanville, Mansfield, Richardson, McKinney, and Addison. So we have a lot of presence, and what you are talking about today is we're one of only 3 adult trauma centers in the Metroplex, which is exciting.
And the one, I just think it's good to point out to viewers, we were talking before we started today, that beautiful big hospital right there in Oak Cliff with the big Blue Cross on the side of it. That is a Methodist facility.
The big Blue Cross. In fact, we have a great patient story about the big Blue Cross. There was an SMU student, and he was from San Antonio, and one day he had a stomach ache, and he felt his mother told him he was turning yellow, so he thought it was quite serious. So the only hospital that he knew of was the big Blue Cross, his beacon of hope. So the young SMU student drove to our emergency room and was checked in and went into a coma, unfortunately, and woke up a week later with a new liver. So we have one of the only liver transplants in Dallas as well. So he's doing great. He finished SMU and he married his high school sweetheart back in San Antonio. But he remembers that it was that big Blue Cross that everybody knows about and sees, that's where he needed to go.
That is a really neat story.
I hope you're using him in your marketing.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking.
Absolutely.
Great,
absolutely. We have his story with a beautiful picture of him and his bride.
Wow, that's fantastic.
That's a good story.
And so in addition, because I know I live in Richardson near one of your hospitals, and that was acquired in the last few years. So you guys definitely are growing and are expanding even as recently as this last month.
Yes, at Richardson, which we talked about, and you mentioned that you were familiar with the Campbell campus, which in the Campbell campus is staying put. It is not going away. We've had a lot of our Richardson residents say that. But what we did do was break ground. There's also a present at Bush Renner and we are building a 125-bed acute care hospital there with room to grow. So that will become the main acute care hospital, with the Campbell facility remaining as outpatient services.
That's great.
So
we'll
sound
keep it too.
very busy. Can you tell us about the fundraiser going on?
Yes, and that too. And we have the 2012 Robert S. Folsom Leadership Award dinner that's going to happen October the 30th in a couple of weeks. Mike Boone, the originator and partner of Haynes & Boone, the lawyer's lawyer, will be receiving that award this year. And what we've done is we named it after Bob Folsom, one of the most well-known and revered former Dallas mayors, who's credited with the DFW airport, among other things. And Mr. Folsom, his family, had been involved with Methodist and SMU and the airport for decades. And this was the only award he has ever accepted, and the only award he allowed to be named for him. And really what it was to heighten the awareness of Methodist, because so many people didn't know what this organization that's over 85 years old had been doing. And Mike Boone really shows and mirrors Mr. Folsom's excellence in the business of law, as well as his commitment to organizations like schools is something that he's very interested in, Mr. Boone. He's also very, very interested and philanthropic in his church, and he's recently just named as chairman of the SMU board.
Wow.
So he's
busy man too.
He is, and he has a great sense of humor. So we're going to capture that as well. So thanks for asking about that too.
Yeah, how much do you typically raise each year?
You know, it's been a phenomenon and a great blessing, because this is our 8th Folsom event, and even the first one, and those of you that have worked on special events of any kind, every year it's raised over $1 million.
Wow.
And that's net. A lot of people go, is that net or gross? It's net.
Okay.
And so this year it's no difference. It has already raised over $1 million.
And what is this going to fund? Is it going to fund the expansion?
Actually, the event is not. What we do every year with the recipient, what makes this event a little different, is we make it very personal to the recipient. And we ask the recipient of the award to choose what they're most interested in. And so this year, Mike Boone chose for it to support our neurosurgery services, which are some of the best in the country. And so that is what it's focused on. And then we also, with the event, try to make it very, very personal, down to what does that individual's favorite dessert. And we surprise them a great deal, and it's so no event is ever the same. And we found that the about 800 attendees that come, that we have one of the highest percentage of repeat attendees of any event in the country. It's kind of interesting.
You know, that tells you that your past honorees have fabulous taste in dessert.
And it does. Yeah. It does.
So we want to know what Mike Boone likes. Can you tell us?
It's very well. No, we can't. Actually, we can't. You know, I was going to say we can't do that.
That would get me.
We keep it a surprise. I can tell you what Trevor Reese Jones liked. He was last year's event, and we provided it. It was held at the Anatole, and he likes an ice cream ball coated with chocolate and pecans. So that's what everybody had.
Yeah.
I support your supporting him just for his dessert choice.
It was so that's a great way to rate is what your dessert choice was.
Absolutely. Oh, I used to ask that when I dated guys what their favorite candy was. So
yeah,
make or break it for you.
Yeah.
I did eventually get married, so he picked Butterfinger. But.
Yeah. Okay. That's a good one. That's a good one too.
And now you've touched on some of the specialties, because we are lucky to live in the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex,
yes,
where we have access to wonderful health care, and it sounds like, I mean, I know Mansfield, growing community, McKinney, absolutely growing, and so it sounds like you're serving some of the places where the population is really burgeoning and bringing specialty. Do you want to talk a little bit more? You talked about neurosurgery. You talked about the only liver transplant unit.
Yeah. Well, one of two liver in the area. 3 if you count Fort Worth.
Okay.
But it is a very unique and specialized service, and if you've ever known anyone who's received it, it's not only life, it's it is life. It means life, and it's life altering and changing.
Mickey Mantle, a big
exactly, exactly. That happened to him. Some of the services that we provide, I think one of the things that would be interesting to note, yes, there is transplantation. There's the trauma services, because we're one of only 3 adult trauma services in Dallas. And so what does that mean for you or your family? What that means is you have a 1 in 3 chances of when you or your family needs it that you will end up at Methodist. Right. So that lets you know. So it's us, Baylor, and Parkland are the 3 trauma services. That's something to know. We also have medical education, which our system supports. And medical education and trauma, those are things that would tell you something about the system and what's important to it. It rises, all boats rise when you have those things, because you would ask, why doesn't everyone have a trauma service? We've had great flight north over the past few decades, and that's one thing that's unusual about Methodist too, is it's just recently that we've had northern campuses, and our board made a commitment to never leave southern Dallas, and that's something that we've done. And now, as you know, with Mayor Mike Rawlings, who's very supportive of our expansion, the population is growing and booming in that area. So part of having the ED trauma services expansion is to meet that need. We also want to take care of our clinicians, because they work in some of the most traumatic times that any of us would have. They're there for you. And so even though the care is very good, we wanted the facility to meet the type of quality of care that they're giving. So that works into that. So that is one thing that we do. And one thing that's also unique about Methodist, you need to understand, is we are not for profit, but we also turn no one away. So if you show up our doors, whatever your ability is to pay, you will receive the same type of service.
That's very important.
Yes.
I think everybody's thought of Parkland only historically there, but realizing that you're in these other communities.
And Parkland is very, very important to Dallas. Now, the difference between Parkland and Methodist is Parkland is a county hospital, and so they do get some funding from the county, and Methodist does not.
It's all private.
Yes, all private funded.
No, I think this is an interesting point. When I've had babies. I have specialists that we see. My husband just had sinus surgery, and I think one of the points you don't necessarily go out and pick your hospital always. It's all generally about your provider and what hospitals they're affiliated with. And so, but two of the specialists we see are up at your Richardson campus. And so,
great.
I'm curious.
We're glad to know you're a customer. So
yes, a happy customer. And so, tell us, can you go to the website to help find providers that are affiliated with or have accreditation with your?
Yeah, you can certainly go on to Methodist, and what you'll find, it's very well done. We have an incredible team that's led by Kathleen Beathard that does that. And you can go in and you can search by specialist, or you can search by location, find a physician, and just click away. Or we even have a number that you can call that would help walk you through if there's a particular service that you needed. And say you said, I live in Richardson, do you have it here? And they could tell you if maybe it wasn't, that maybe you could come to another facility. So
I think that's important. I think that's one thing that individuals don't realize is how much control you can take of your own health care. And instead of, you know, I've had providers that I've liked, but they may not have been at a hospital that I necessarily liked. And so realizing that there is a way that you're entitled to shop and get exactly what it is that you need.
Absolutely, and with technology, all the healthcare systems are meeting the challenge of becoming more and more transparent.
Right.
So you'll be able to very easily, as a consumer, go out and find objective comparisons.
Right. That's
so
fantastic.
It is. It really is for all of us. And I think, you know, and so when everyone can be transparent, then you'll really be able to judge the quality for the services, and Methodist is excited about that too.
I think that's fantastic.
And switching gears just a little bit, on 9/11 you broke ground on a new trauma center. Tell us a little bit more about that, and then also you announced a historical capital campaign as well.
We did. I'm so glad you asked about that. We did, and we talked about the ED trauma, and we chose with great purpose to have it on September the 11th because that is a day that none of us will ever forget and remember. And the reason we chose that is because for the ED trauma, we really wanted to highlight in a positive way first responders. And not only do we have policemen and firemen that are first responders, and I might add that we see over 200 police and firefighters in our Methodist Dallas ED Trauma Center every year. So we see them and we know them, and in fact they prefer to come to us. So we're excited about that. So we did at the groundbreaking, we not only had the mayor, but we had the chief of the fire department and the chief of the Dallas Police Department there, and to be able to show their support and that how much we supported them. But then the other first responders, when you have that situation, are the physicians and the nurses that meet you at the door. And so we really wanted to honor what they do every day because we think they're heroes. You know, they really do heroic work every day. I mean, right now while I'm talking to you, they're doing heroic work every day. So we did that. We had over 200 people come. It is the most challenging capital campaign that our system's ever done. It's a $108 million project. We've committed to a minimum of $20 million to raise. And also we have a chairman this year. His name is Chris Kleinert, and he's president and CEO of Hunt Consolidated Investments. And Chris has really gotten the vision of, he gets what Methodist Dallas does for that, you know, does the ED trauma does for the population here. And he also understands that in Dallas we have an ED trauma service for one of every 850,000 people, which is a high percentage. For example, in Houston, it's 440,000 per person. So we double. And so also what Chris got is that we needed to have the generational change. Who are the next leaders? And so we've put together an incredible capital campaign team of some people's names that you may not know yet, but that we anticipate, like Chris, will be those city leaders that will continue to lead other important ventures in Dallas as well. So he's done a great job. Yeah, we called him Clark Kent, is that he is our own superhero. You know, the people that are coming towards you to help you as opposed to leaving.
Right.
When you're in times of need.
And
so thanks for asking that.
If we want to learn more about the upcoming event, which is the Folsom Leadership Award Dinner, we can visit methodisthealthsystem.org/Folsom.
That's it.
Or call 214-947-4555.
Absolutely. We'd love to see you there.
Lots of other information there as well about the capital campaign and whatnot.
Yes.
So,
thank you for joining us.
Oh, thank you for the opportunity. Appreciate it.
And we'll be right back.